Today, I'm going to tell you about something so horrifying, so real, that it silenced an entire region with fear. A man-eater. Not a legend. Not a myth. But a living nightmare that spread terror like wildfire. They say it came from the forest, silent, fast, and never seen until it was too late. It didn't just hunt. It eliminated. Hundreds of people, gone. Vanished without a trace. No screams. No witnesses. Only blood and bones. But it didn't stop there. Animals, millions of them, slaughtered in the night. Entire herds wiped out. No fences could stop it. No bullets could kill it. The survivors spoke of red eyes in the dark. Massive claw marks on steel doors. And a growl, so deep it rattled your bones. The government covered it up. The media called it wildlife attacks. But we knew better. This wasn't an animal. It was a predator from hell. Then one day, it stopped. No more screams. No more blood. People say a hunter went in after it. Alone. They never found him. But the killings ended. Now, the forest sleeps. But the legend lives on. Some say the creature.
In the shadowy mountains of Appalachia lies a place so remote and wild, maps once marked it with a single word, unexplored. But the locals knew its true name, Black Hollow. A gorge cloaked in mist and silence, where light rarely touched the ground. For generations, there were whispers, of shadows in the trees, of screams carried by the wind. The stories were dismissed as folklore, until the disappearances began. It began with livestock. Farmers reported fences torn apart, cattle ripped open as if by claws the size of machetes. Then came the night Jacob Mayfield vanished, a retired logger built like a bull. His house was found in splinters, blood soaked the porch, no body, only a single trail of massive clawed footprints leading into Black Hollow. The town of Evermill panicked. Sheriff Harold Whitaker formed search parties, but all returned empty. Some left with blank stares, refusing to speak of what they'd seen. In the midst of this fear was Jack Turner, a former army tracker, haunted by war, now living in solitude in his father's old hunting cabin, bordering Black Hollow. Jack had survived ambushes, bombings, and beasts of war. But this was different. Late one evening, Jack heard something. A howl, deep and echoing, that froze his blood. The next morning, he found his dog Murphy, torn apart just outside the cabin. Not eaten, just slaughtered. Jack set up trail cams and traps, hoping to identify the predator. That night, he stayed awake with a rifle, watching the tree line. At 2:41 a.m., he saw it. Something huge. Standing upright, covered in matted fur, eyes glowing like burning coals. It didn't run. It watched. Then it vanished into the trees. The camera footage confirmed it. Not a bear. Not a man. Something else. Jack dug through his father's old journals, hoping for answers. In a dusty box, he found maps of Black Hollow, marked with "Do Not Enter," and old newspaper clippings from the 1940s. People missing, entire hunting parties found mutilated. One journal entry stood out. Saw it again last night. Same eyes, same howl. I don't think it's an animal. I think it remembers me. I think it's angry. There was also a name, Skinsnare, a native legend, a creature born of vengeance, feeding on flesh, always adapting, never dying, said to be cursed, half beast, half human. Jack realized his father hadn't died of old age. He had been hunted, Fueled by grief and rage, Jack loaded up on gear, motion sensors, night vision, silver bullets passed down by his grandfather, and high-powered traps. He entered Black Hollow. At first, there was nothing, just silence and shadows. Then came the signs, shredded trees, footprints bigger than any humans, and the stench of decay. Suddenly, a scream. Jack ran and found a hiker, barely alive, bleeding from deep claw wounds. Before Jack could react, the trees exploded as the beast charged. Jack fired, the bullet grazing the creature's shoulder, causing it to shriek and retreat. But not before Jack got a clear look. It had a human face, stretched unnaturally over a beast's skull. The hiker died that night, whispering a single word: eyes. Back in town, Jack tried to rally the sheriff and townspeople, but they thought he was losing his mind. Even Sheriff Whitaker, once Jack's friend, refused to believe. That night, the beast came closer than ever. Jack awoke to find it standing in his yard, holding the hiker's severed head. It was a message. Jack returned to Black Hollow with one plan: end this, or die trying. He rigged a massive pit lined with sharpened spikes, covering it with moss and baiting it with blood-soaked meat. He wired the surrounding trees with motion detectors and prepared silver-coated spears. That night, the wind died. The sensors tripped. The beast came, slowly, carefully. It knew something was wrong. Jack fired to provoke it. The beast roared, charged, and fell into the trap. It shrieked, but it didn't die. It climbed up, wounded but furious, and lunged at Jack. The final battle began. They fought hand to hand, claw to blade. Jack slashed. The beast bit into his arm. Blood sprayed. But Jack managed to stab it through the chest with a silver spear. It howled in agony, but still didn't fall. Jack crawled to his rifle, loaded one final silver bullet, aimed it directly into its burning eye, and fired. The creature collapsed, twitching, then finally lay still. Jack burned the body in a pit, covering it in salt and ash. The flames lit the forest for miles. Authorities said it was a bear attack. Sheriff Whitaker refused to speak, but the killings stopped. The forest went quiet. Jack never went back to Black Hollow. He moved to the edge of town, kept his father's journals, and stayed armed. Every now and then, he'd hear something on the wind, a distant howl, and wonder, was it really over? Narrator, final line. Some monsters die, others wait